If you want to know which items you should never ever buy new, simply because you can always find them secondhand at a fraction of the price, this video is for you. Now, I am a huge advocate for secondhand shopping. I'm a big believer in the circular economy, and I also just believe you can buy most things secondhand with a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. Most things, not everything, of course, but many, many, many things. So over my years as a secondhand shopper, I have picked up on quite a few categories that are pretty easy to find secondhand and honestly, just not worth buying new anymore, at least for me. And hopefully after this video for you as well. Now, before we get into it, just remember that the most sustainable thing you can do is to use the items you already own. But if you identify a gap in your wardrobe or in your home and you need to go buy something, secondhand is the next best thing. And without further ado, let's get into these items that I don't think you should ever buy new ever again. So on my channel, I do primarily talk about clothes. That's kind of my bread and butter here. But in this video, I am going to be talking about a handful of categories outside of clothing, as well as clothing itself. And the first thing I want to talk about are home goods. So this is a big one because there are so many different subcategories within the home goods umbrella that you can actually buy used. And I don't think a lot of people understand how many things you can actually find at the thrift store for your home with a little bit of time and effort, right? So in my head, I like to split home goods into two different categories. We have functional home good items, and then we have like decorative items. So when it comes to functional things, I'm talking things like storage containers, hangers, curtains. I'm even talking kitchen supplies. So utensils, plates, bowls, everything like that. I actually have two examples for this. I was at the thrift store, this was actually a few months ago, but I remember it very clearly. I walked down an aisle and there was probably half of the aisle was full of just hangers. And this is probably people who are donating clothes and just leaving the items on the hangers, and people who probably just have an excess of hangers and are donating them as well. But there's no reason to go buy brand new hangers, honestly. Like, there's so many at the thrift store, and I don't need any, but if I did, I would head there. And another example of this that I want to share with you, it's not my example, but I have a friend who shared with me that they went to the thrift store a few weeks ago and they found a $5 wok. And we looked it up afterwards. We looked up the brand and it was in really good condition. I would say it was like in almost excellent condition. And the full price of this wok was $150. I'm not saying everybody will always get that lucky, but I'm just saying there are so many different categories of home goods that you can find at the thrift store. Now, my favorite category of home goods that I like to find secondhand is, of course, home decor. And I'm going to put a bunch of pictures sometime throughout this section on the screen with different items that I have found secondhand that I have around my home now. I have found vases, I've found picture frames, I have found little knickknacks and little trinkets. So this is especially good if you are somebody who is moving out into their first home or their first apartment and you need some more decor, or if it's somebody who is maybe redecorating and you just want to add a couple more things to your living room or whatever. Home decor is alive and well in secondhand stores, and again, I'm going to keep saying this, but with a little bit of time and effort, you will be able to find something that works great for you. Okay, so talked about home goods. Now I want to talk about jackets. If you are looking for some type of transitional jacket, trust me when I say you need to look secondhand. And before I actually move forward, I want to talk about the fact that secondhand doesn't always mean your thrift store, right? Like, you don't have to get up and out of your house and go to your local secondhand shop or whatever. I do think everything secondhand takes, again, a little bit of time and effort, but that could also mean searching on eBay for used things. It could be going on ThredUp or Mercari or Depop or whatever and looking for those things on there. eBay, especially huge honestly, I think they would probably have the biggest selection of most of the things I'm talking about. I know that comes with some type of, rough territory in terms of not being able to see things in person and try them on. But, if you're going to shop secondhand, you have to do what's best for you. You have to make the best decision in terms of the avenue you want to go down. And so that's just one little disclaimer I would like to make before we move forward. But anyways, transitional jackets are truly one of my favorite things that I've found at the thrift store. I just am obsessed. I found my leather jacket, which I wear all of the time, at Goodwill for, I believe, about $13. I got my denim jacket also at the thrift store for $5. And then one of my more recent finds is a beige trench coat that I got for 99 cents. My best thrift find. Now, these items are always in rotation at the thrift store because they are staples, right? Like leather jackets, denim jackets, trench coats, they've been around for decades and decades and decades. Why they end up in the thrift store, I'm not really sure. Obviously, people do closet cleanouts, people pass away, people move, there's so many different reasons, because you might be like, well, if they're a staple, then why aren't people keeping them? That's not my problem. That's not my business. I don't really know. But all I know is that I always see them at the thrift store, and I have found a few items myself, and I just don't think that anybody really needs to buy them new. Now, if you're looking for something within these categories, but you're looking for something maybe a little bit more specific, like I said, online secondhand shopping is definitely going to be your friend. It might take you a little bit to dig through stuff that matches your, budget and your whatever you're looking for, but buying secondhand is always better than buying new, no matter which avenue you're going down. Okay, the next item I want to talk about, which is kind of similar to jackets, but also not really, are blazers. This is another item that is constantly on rotation at the thrift store, again, because it's a staple. Why it ended up there, not my problem, but it is a staple, and we can reap the benefits of it being there. Now, my biggest piece of advice for you when it comes to shopping blazers secondhand is to make sure you're checking both the men's and the women's sections. Sometimes blazers get mixed up into both. Sometimes you just might find a men's blazer that works for you, or even a women's blazer that works for you. Like, it totally depends. Now, blazers are also another really great item to find secondhand online. So I found my Aritzia blazer on Depop, I believe. Yes, did I pay more than I would have at the thrift store? Of course, but I found it a little bit just more convenient for me because I wanted this specific style of blazer from Aritzia, and I found it and it worked out great and I love it. So, pick your battles, pick whatever works best for you, but they are definitely another amazing thing that is always on rotation when it comes to secondhand shopping. The next item that I don't think anybody should ever buy new are blankets. And yes, I know they probably could have fallen under the home goods category, but I feel like blankets deserve their own moment because without fail, every single thrift store or secondhand shop that I go to, they always just have the best blanket selection. So within my house, I have 2 thrifted blankets. They are so cute. The one I'm pretty sure is handmade. It's just gorgeous and I love it. And the other one, I have no idea where it came from actually. Not a single clue. I've tried to do Google image reverse search and I found it a couple of other times on eBay, but there's no brand to it. So I know it's not handmade, but it's still adorable and I really love it. And I also think there's something pretty sentimental, at least for me, when it comes to secondhand blankets. Like, if this one is handmade, that means someone put a lot of time and effort into it. And it makes me feel good knowing that I'm still able to put it to use. And it also just makes me happy that these blankets have been a part of another person's home. They have absorbed these other memories. And now I get to make my own memories with them, which is primarily just sitting on the couch with them. But, I don't know, maybe that's just me feeling a little bit sentimental. I'm sure some people really hate secondhand shopping for this reason because, there's always the where did this come from type of thought, but I personally love it. Okay, so next up we have sweatshirts and sweatpants. Basically, any type of super comfy lounge at home type of clothes, I never, ever, ever buy new. There is always such an amazing selection of these items at the thrift store. And again, it's just something that's a staple in everyone's wardrobe. So there's this constant rotation. And to be honest with you guys, I actually prefer a broken in sweatshirt or sweatpant. Like, I like something that's a little bit lived in. It's a little bit more, I don't know, just lived in. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Because I think that when you get a sweatshirt brand new, it's so soft on the inside and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's great and dandy and I love that. But after it's been washed a few times, it's been worn a few times, it just feels more, I don't know, it just feels better to me. Maybe that's just me, maybe I'm crazy, but whatever. I like it and that's all that matters. And another thing that I really love about buying sweatshirts and sweatpants secondhand is the fact that many of these items are made with cotton, which for me means they're going to last, of course, if I take care of them. So that's always a win for me to have a natural fiber product and just something that I know, again, will last if I take care of it. Okay, so for the last category I want to talk about, I am going to cheat a little bit because I don't think you should buy this specific category new or used. Just saying. And that is special event attire, occasion attire, whatever you want to call it. Basically things that you're buying for one-time use and then you generally will never wear them again. So I think when it comes to things like wedding guest dresses or New Year's Eve outfits or even Halloween costumes or your birthday outfit or things that you would buy for vacation, like things that you are generally only going to wear one time and then you're just going to let them sit in your closet. Don't buy them new. Don't buy them used. You want to rent. Now, if you've been here before, especially in the beginning of my channel, I talked about renting all of the time. I absolutely love it. It is my favorite way to just add something new to my wardrobe that I don't have to commit to, that won't take up space after I'm done wearing it the one time. Now, I think if you are somebody who has a handful of dresses or pieces or whatever that you are able to wear for all these different events and you're fine with wearing them interchangeably or whatever, I think that's totally fine and that's great. I think that's probably ideal, honestly. But for me personally, I just like to have a new dress for every wedding I go to. And I think that's fine. So for weddings, which is what I'm renting for a majority of the time, I'm always renting from Rent the Runway. Great prices, great selection, not much else to say about it. I just always go there and it's fantastic. And when it comes to things like vacations or trips or things that I have for an extended period of time, I'm renting from Nuuly, which is definitely my favorite in terms of selection, but for Nuuly, you have to rent 6 items at a time. And, you know, sometimes your girl just doesn't need 6 items, which is when I look to Rent the Runway. So those are my 2 platforms that I use the most often. Nuuly is definitely the best. I will have a referral link in the description box down below if you want to check it out yourself, but I just don't really see any point in buying these things new or used if I'm just gonna wear them once for one thing and then never again. So the next time you have some type of event coming up or some type of vacation or your birthday and you wanna find a cute outfit or whatever, I highly, highly recommend looking into one of those 2 platforms. Or if you guys have another renting platform that you like, drop it down in the comments below. I actually heard of one recently called Pickle. Haven't tried it. No idea, not a single clue, you know, what it is or anything. Like, I can't give you any information other than it's a rental platform, so maybe check that out as well. But all I'm saying is that you don't have to buy new or used for these types of events. All right, you guys, those are all the items and categories that I would never ever buy new. I'm gonna ask you the same question. What is one category or one item that you would also never ever buy new? I would love to hear about it in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm so appreciative of your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.